As Ghana approaches its general elections in just 4 months, concerns are growing about the security of our electoral system against potential external interference. Recent instances of electoral results being influenced by outside forces in sub-Saharan Africa have raised alarm bells. In Ghana, memories of the 2016 elections come to mind when the then Electoral Commission chairperson Charlotte Osei revealed that they had to halt the use of their electronic system for collating results due to suspicions of tampering and compromise. We can now listen to what Charlotte Osei said before announcing the 2016 election results.
Prior to the elections, we had announced that we're going to use two methods of results transmission: the manual process and the electronic results transmission. One of the main benefits of the electronic results transmission is that it should have enabled us to see the results of all the 29,000 polling stations as recommended by the reform committee we set up after the 2012 elections before we declare the final results. Unfortunately, we've had challenges with our electronic results transmission system. We had reason to believe that the system had been compromised, and so we advised our returning officers at the collation centers to stop using it and revert solely to the manual process. So as we speak, we are still waiting results through the manual process to come in, and we're making efforts to make sure that we see the polling station results before the final declaration. The history of our presidential elections in the Fourth Republic in Ghana have been very close, and because of that closeness, we have a duty to ensure that we take our time, we collate the results properly, we ensure that the process of collation remains as inclusive and as transparent as the process of the elections.
So this raises questions about the current state of our electoral system's robustness and ability to prevent similar interference. Joining me now in the studio for this discussion are Desmond Israel, who is technology lawyer and data privacy security practitioner, and also Dr. Rashid Tanko, computer, Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC. Well, the name is computer, interesting one there. Well, let me start with you, Desmond, and grateful for coming.
Thank you.
Now, if you look at the discussions we had, what are the potential risks, to data privacy in Ghana's electoral system, and how can that be mitigated?
Well, for the purposes of election interference, there are information operations, and then there are the cyber operations. So the potential of using some of these data for communicating misinformation, disinformation, trying to use new age technology to build profiles that do not exist, put some communication in the mouth of people that they did not say. And then from the cyber operations point of view, it's potential breaches. And this is not conjecture. I mean, out there, in the case of countries that are pitched against Russia, you have about 5 of them on the record showing that they've had some sort of interference, different levels of election interference, which also has to do with information that they carry, the kind of communication that they give to build public trust, the likes of Netherlands, the UK, you could even mention Sweden, and even France. In Macron's during his elections, he had Russian attackers engaging his units. So just to sum it up, everything about data, its infrastructure that it carries, and elections all has the potential of interference one way or the other. It is what you put together to build that trust around the process. Because one thing you should also know is the use of mis and disinformation is purely to create distrust in the system.
Okay.
So I don't even need to interfere with the electoral system as in the technology itself. I can come in like the Cambridge Analytica approach and skewed public opinion. And that has been categorized in the records as being, election interference.
Okay.
So for data privacy specifically, it is what we hold. There's biometrics there. There is the personal information about people. The structures we put in place to ensure these things are protected is important. Beyond tampering with maybe, votes or dealing with the election in such a manner that people would feel that one person should have won but did not, data can also be used by private actors for a whole lot of things. It could include attempts at fraud. It could include phishing, you know, where people try to use these data to get access to more relevant data for more adverse impact. Yeah.
But I mean, you mentioned places, and we all know the American election also came up strongly.
Yeah.
But they said no, there wasn't any. I mean, is it, as you mentioned, disinformation that people will say, oh, there was a Russian interference, where you could defend to say there wasn't, like the Americans did?
Right. So, okay. So usually when it comes to all these cyber operations, we match it to what we call attribution. For the sake of your listeners, attribution is simply saying that I will put all the pieces together to identify if this happened because Desmond did it or Kojo Brace did it. That's just what attribution is.
Okay.
So the world over, for you to be able to assess that maybe a state actor or a private actor within a state took this action, you do attribution. Okay. And most of these attributions have been done. Like in some of the attacks, they could identify from the metadata, as in the data that identifies the data. Yeah. They could identify some of the attackers and the signatures. You know, some popular Russian names that we know in the space can be found in some of these things. You know, addresses that were used in engaging some of these attacks. Some of them maps to Russia. You know, so maybe we can say that, well, the Russian government can say this has nothing to do with us, but there are Russian actors.
Okay.
That attribution maps to, you know. And one big actor that I think I can put on the record is APT28. These actors are actually from U.S. intelligence. People will say, oh, that's subjective. Well, but from U.S. intelligence, which they've justified, APT28 has something to do with Russian intelligence. Okay. You know, so it's easy from the geopolitical point of view for somebody to say that, no, if APT28 is here, Russia is here.
Okay, all right. So if that's it, then you can say that a country like Ghana, we are just small in the cyberspace, but how can EC ensure that, you know, the privacy or the data that they have are protected from this, you know, intrusion by foreign sources?
They're not going to do anything different from what the world has done. France came together. In Sweden, political parties came together. You know, there was a joint conversation as to what do we want to do to ensure that there is trust around the electoral process. It's not really about EC and us against them. That's not how I see it, at least not professionally, because from the US to the UK to Germany and all these examples that I'm giving you with the records can bear me out, there was consistent engagement as to what things to put in place, because it would differ from place to place. The Electoral Commission knows deep in their hearts, they know what their technical problems are. I don't work within the Electoral Commission, but if you're speaking about general cyber engagements, there are so many things that an attacker can do, and it doesn't matter how well it is built. The Googles get hacked, the Facebook get hacked. So you're not an exception to the rule, right? In Netherlands, they took an extreme position by saying that, listen, this election is not going to be done online. So there was no electronic voting in 2017 in Netherlands, because they knew that there was, from all indication, there was going to be a Russian interference in the process, right? So, and that's how they took their decision. So they took the election offline, which was a very smart thing. They still got their election done anyway. So I think that we just have to approach it from a more pragmatic.
But what necessitates the interference? Whoa,
there are a number of things. So first of all, I would even move away from Russia. I used it because that's the conversation out there. But if you look at a state interest, so let's say country X has interest in Ghana or in Africa and realizes that the change of, say, a president or the change of a government might affect that interest on the ground, say mineral resources or any of that, they would do what it takes. And these setups are there. These institutions that do these jobs are there. They are not now going to manufacture them. The tools are there. The skill is there. The motivation is there. They can stage it and then get what they want out of it. So it is when you have an interest subsisting that you see some of these interferences coming. And then there's the mercenary part where people actually engage, you know. For instance, there's an opposition that is pro-Russian aligned. So you see them having that assistance. Or there is an incumbent that is maybe pro-Iranian aligned. So you see them having that assistance. So that's basically where the motivation comes from.
Okay, but if I understand, if you say that they can't do anything that people haven't done before, it means that then we're just say we are their mercy, they should do whatever, or there's something specific we could do.
We are just saying that we should do, the necessary basic things that needs to be done. Now, I didn't want to throw in, what you call measures that are blank checks.
Okay.
Right? Because I think that every election is unique.
Okay.
Yesterday's issues about electoral transfer, which was interrupted because of maybe denial of service attack, it will not be the same as today. But there is the potential that if you're going to do transfer of votes and it's going to go via the internet, then you should put some redundancy in place.
Okay.
Because if it's coming over a single wire, and I'm using wire here, in context. If it's coming over a single wire and that wire can be cut off, maybe we should have 2. We should have 3. But it is the parties and the Electoral Commission and the political actors that know that we need to protect our democracy, and these are the gaps around our democracy from a cyber perspective.
Okay.
And then, of course, agencies like the Cybersecurity Authority might also come in with the relevant policies around electoral.
I will let us look at whether there are legal frameworks, but let me bring in Dr. Rashid here. Doc, so you listened to him espouse what the threats are. What specific issues does the NDC have with the robustness of Ghana's electoral system, and how do you think that can be addressed?
Very well. You see, if you look at our electoral system in the country, it's a manual electoral system. We don't do electronic voting in Ghana. We don't do electronic transmission, e-voting. We don't do it. Okay. If you look at the framers of the 1992 Constitution, they were very careful in putting up the clauses for our electoral system, knowing the illiteracy rates of the country at that time, and then knowing the structure, our cultural setup and all that. If we bring in electronic system like e-voting, your guess is as good as mine. We can't just manage it. So our electoral system is pen and paper electoral system. Yeah. That is, everything we do is manual. That is, we give you a paper, you go and put your thumbprint on it, and then we count. And the counting is done in front of everybody. And when we finish the counting, we write the results on the paper. The paper we normally call the pink sheet. And that is the result. We are finished like that. So it's a simple electoral system. So our problem in our electoral system is rather the personnel who does the counting. It is not about the voting.
But you remember in 2016, we played...
Yes, that's what...
Charlotte was worried about some interference.
I was trying to get there.
Okay.
When we started the biometric system in 2012, that was the first time we introduced some level of electronics into our elections. That is by going the biometric, just to take away this issue of people coming to identify each other by face and then saying that I don't know you, are not from here. And you remember those kind of heckling and all that. People could be in a queue and they will come and walk them away and say, you don't know, you are not from this area. So in order to forestall all this, we brought in this biometric system so that we take away that physical contact with people and all that. The biometrics will do the identification for us. That is the highest level we went. Then in 2016, they tried to bring in an idea of saying that, okay, our electoral system, the summary sheets from the Constituency Collation Center were supposed to be faxed at that point to the strong room, which you call the strong room. Now, instead of faxing, they wanted to introduce another layer where they can use VGM or that method to take the images instead of the fax system. They would take it via internet and all that. That was why they had that challenges. And it was just needless.
Okay.
That one was needless because the results by then had already been declared at the collation centers. And so you had a pink sheet. So that's why they said, okay, well, if we are finding it difficult in transmitting it that way, why not just resort to our manual thing that we used to do? Let's put the papers together. And then we are good to go. And that's how they managed to declare Nanado. Run down to 2020. Clearly, we've been doing that. We've been using the manual system. Now, the level at which we introduce electronics is when we are doing registration exercise. And during the registration exercise, I was happy my good brother mentioned the redundancy issue. We told the Electoral Commission very well that you are using one dedicated network from MTN. Okay, now anytime you had problem with that one, then your whole system breaks down. Why don't you have a redundancy fallback? So that in an event you have problem with MTN, then you fall back to the other network to help you continue your online registration. That was the challenge there. And up to now, they are still doing that. That is why you have these network breakages anytime they're having.
So they're still using one
They're
line.
still using the same one thing. Even when we did the 3 days mop-up, the same challenge they had. Meanwhile, we pre-warned them that, look, this thing you are doing, they say, oh, there's not going to be a problem. But when we started the 3-day mop-up, you saw the challenges again. So clearly, our electoral system is robust in the manual form, that it doesn't, no interference whatsoever in terms of these international bodies that can interfere through network challenges and all that. We don't do it. What we do is that we come to the polling station, you are given a ballot paper, you thumbprint, and the box is there, you put it in there. Okay. And by 5 o'clock, we pour it on the table like all of us.
And then we count.
And we count there. As soon as we count, we should feel it. Our challenge here, the only difficulty we have
from the NDCs
is the human beings who do the counting.
Okay.
Because we have come to realize that our electoral system can only be manipulated using the Stalin method. You know the Stalin? Joseph Stalin of Russia. When he stated in the 1924, when he came there after the Bolshevik Revolution, you remember they were asking for proper participation. The people wanted elections. That let's vote. This time we are not going to allow the people to be chosen by the military hierarchy. He said, fine, no problem. Those who vote decide nothing, but those who count decide everything. That is the method we are having now. You will go and vote, all right, but somebody is going to do what? To do the counting. And so you voting might not decide anything. But the one who is actually coming to do the counting, that 1, 2, 3, you saw the Jisu episode. Somebody was counting from 38, he jumped to 40. And so if your officer is there and you don't stop him, my friend, from 38, you are moving to 39. He will jump to 40. He has already rigged the election by how many votes?
So that is your main challenge?
That is our main challenge. Our main challenge, our network issue of cyber TC, it has nothing to do with our election in Ghana. And
how do we address it then?
The only thing we can address is to build confidence in our system by the personalities who are handling our electoral system. Okay. One, how are we building the confidence? It's about the register. That is where the problem is. Because we use the electronics and all that to gather the data to put the register together. As we speak now, they haven't given the register. I'm told we are coming to that. That is where the problem is. As soon as we get the register set, and political parties are given the register, all this networking is for internal political parties' internal business. Whether you go, you transmit your resource by network or you transmit your resource by manually, that's your cup of tea. Electoral Commission doesn't do electronic transmission. So nobody can hijack or hack their resource anywhere. Okay. Because how do you hack pink sheet? How are you going to hack it? So for you, it's at the polling station? It's at the polling station. So if the pink sheet is given to you, and you are going to carry the pink sheet from the polling station to the collation center, you are going to use a motorbike, or you are going to use a car, and drive and send it physically to the returning officer at the collation center. How are you hacking that resource? The only hacking is physical hacking. Bring the pink sheet and I'll give you money, so that it doesn't get to the collation center. I've hacked it like that. Okay. But we don't have network problem where the resource is going to be transmitted via any satellite or anything. And so we just have to look at the integrity of the people manning it. The integrity of the people manning the election is the problem. Okay. All right. That is just the problem we have in Ghana. As soon as we get it right, get the people right, let them know that, my brother, you are paid to do this job. And the democracy of Ghana is on your head. Don't go there, somebody has scored 100 and you go and write it 10 for him. Another person has scored 50 and you write 5 instead of the 50. You are the cause of the problem if there's an issue, because the pink sheet is the primary source of the results. So when they count like that, and the problem, I mentioned it the other time at IPAC, and I was telling them, look, we shouldn't be saying that the total figures are okay, so the distribution we can manage it. We are not interested in the total figures. We are interested in the distribution on the pink sheet. Okay. And I'll give you an example. My brother here, the two of us will be contesting the election. And then they've counted his votes at the end of the polls. He has gotten 100. They've counted mine. I've gotten 50. Now it is now time for them to translate it onto the paper. We are all standing there. Then whilst my brother, his people are jubilating because he has won, he has 100. On the pink sheet, they have written his votes 50 and written my 100. My agent didn't look at the distribution because he's interested in the 150. Yeah. Because the total votes there becomes what? 150, is that not true? Yeah. So he looked at the 150. and quickly sign.
Yeah.
And his agent also sign. So when it gets to the collation center, do you know the person they are going to declare? They will declare me winner, he will lose.
He will lose, okay.
And that case, the internet that has changed it. It's a human internet, human being who has done it.
Doc, so you agree on that leg, that really our challenge is not about you know, the internet in court, but it's about the integrity of people who are manning it at the polling stations.
I mean, he's giving a practical explanation of how the electoral process itself takes place. Manual transmission, manual voting. So it takes out that cyber operation of things. But if you look at electoral interference, it's two parts. Information operations, cyber operations, right? If someone can actually skew public opinion, and this is what happened in the Cambridge Analytica, right? And these are some of the concerns that I've also circled back in with some of the countries that I've mentioned earlier. So if you are looking at it purely from, you know, just the cyber operations with the electoral system, there's no technology there. So I 100% would agree with him.
Okay.
But then if you look at the information operations, then that's something that he should even be worried about. You know, how does his voters online who are on social media, how do they perceive his candidate? Are they consuming the right information about the candidate?
Okay.
You know, once you start to pick up some of these signals, you need to know that something is amiss.
And do we have the legal frameworks in Ghana to deal with some of these interferences?
Yes, right now we have a number of them. I mean, under our Electronic Transactions Act, we have a number of cybercrime laws which deals with unauthorized access, manipulation of information and all that. And then under our Cybersecurity Act too, we have provisions that deals with critical information infrastructure.
And they're effective enough?
Legally, they are effective, but you know, when it comes to the law, enforcement is another thing. In fact, sometimes you need technology to enforce technology, you know. So those are some of the ground challenges. But legally, we have the frameworks, and if we leverage on our international relationships, our international partnerships when it comes to, you know, dealing with some of these cybercrime or cyber warfare issues, we might be able to get to the root of some of these things if they do happen.
Okay, interesting. Dr. Computer, let me bring you in again. You were talking about the voter register.
Yes. Clearly, you see, I agree with my brother here in the sense that the Electoral Commission, they need assistance. Their IT department is completely dead.
Really?
Oh, completely. It has broken down as we speak now. I'm telling you.
Aren't you saying this because of your suspicion that you have?
I am saying that you can see my outfit today. You can see that I'm wearing black.
I can see it.
Because our democracy is in black as of now. Do you know that as we speak now, they don't have a professional register? We are left with 4 days to go for exhibition. The IT department is finding it difficult to produce a register for us. This is the IT department we are talking of. You remember we talked about UNDP giving them assistance. Because that IT department is there's a serious challenge in that department.
The UNDP has always assisted the Electoral Commission to
that is why we called on them to do that in 2012. The MPP called on the UNDP to make sure that they look at the register before we go and vote, after the biometric. And this assistance was granted, and Afarijan acceded to it. And we all agreed and went into it. This time, we have seen that consistently there's a serious problem with the IT department of Electoral Commission. Look at the 2023 registration exercise and this assembly election. People went to vote, they didn't see their names in the register. You are holding ID card. You voted in 2020. Now you come to vote in 2023, the same ID card, they say your name is not in the register. It's taken out. Who did it? The IT department. How did what kind of software did they use to compile the register then that removed people's name? Almost 26,000. We intercepted an internal memo. At IPAC, I mentioned it and they were sure, how did I get it? I said, yes, I intercepted it. An internal memo they wrote to all the regional directors to look for all the missing names and bring it so that they will bring it back to the register. Why are they doing that to themselves? Limited registration this year. When we started, your reporters were all over the place. They were churning out wrong figures.
But they came out to correct those.
If we hadn't pointed out those wrong figures, we would have corrected them.
You are a player in the process.
Yes, and I'm saying that is the problem. You are paid to do a job. Then you sit down. What kind of quality assurance that goes into Electoral Commission? Who is looking at the figures? Who is analyzing their data before it comes out? As I sit in our department, before my boss or Maneboama comes out with something, if you give him something, he doesn't just pick it and go and throw it out on his Facebook. He does a lot of quality assurance. before he satisfied himself that he will. What kind of quality assurance goes in the Electoral Commission? That 3 types of figures they brought out were all wrong figures. Wrong figures. And we have huge commissioners sitting there with directors and their departments there. You see, Ghana, we have been taking this kind of mediocre kind of issue for a very long time. When they did that, we queried them about it. Did you hear what he said? My brother, you are into IT, deep in it. Coral Draw. Can you use Coral Draw to add figures?
No, not at all.
That they mentioned.
Didn't you hear it? Well, you know, in Ghana press conference, Jim Mensah addressed it, press conference, told the whole world that they were using Coral Draw. That's why they had those mistakes. Coral Draw.
I didn't hear that, to be frank with you.
Go and Google it right now. Jim Mensah press conference on wrong figures and this, and you will see Coral Draw there. We asked them, we told them. At IPAC, we said, how can you use Coral? Coral Draw is a design software. In fact, these days, nobody even uses it. It's an old type of software. And yet, the IT department of the Electoral Commission were using Coral Draw to model bar chart and pie charts for them. Who told you even Excel cannot give you those kind of things? That is the directorate we are talking of. And they told us that they were going to give us a provisional register. My brother, as of 18th July of this year, they asked us to bring 2 terabytes of external drive for them to load the register for us. We sent it. We sent the 2 terabytes to them. 8th August, they wrote back to us that they were not ready to give us the register because it wasn't ready. We should hold on and come back on the 14th of August for the register.
Okay.
14th of August, we're in their office for our terabyte. Give it back to us. We are ready. They said it wasn't ready. We should hold on. They will give it to us on Friday, 16th. 4 days to exhibition exercise. Exhibition started on the 20th. Today, by 9 a.m., we're in their office. They were doing this. But the register is not ready. We should still hold on. As we speak now, they have not given us a register.
So let's get some answers for you. We have been joined on the phone lines by Dr. Srebo Kweku, who is Director of IT at the EC. Doc, grateful to you for joining us here. Why is the electoral register not ready? Doc, I'm trying to find out from you why the register is not ready.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now. Did you hear my question? I'm trying to find out from you why the register is not ready, which the political parties are complaining that we are just some few days away to the voter exhibition, but the register itself that we have to go and exhibit to check whether or not my details are right or wrong, that is not ready.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, initially when we were doing our programs, we did not factor the mop-up into the program. So later when the demand came that we have to do mop-up, then the schedule has to change. And if you look at the program timetable we gave them, we indicated that the dates are subject to change depending on the exigencies of the time. And when we finished the mop-up on the 3rd of August this month, we have to work on the multiples, which was done yesterday's week. So we have to factor all those things into the preparation of the register before we can issue them out. And whatever we are going to give them will be a complete one. So I just talked to them and they are doing their uploading onto the external drive. So once it is ready, they will get them. I believe by this weekend they should have it.
But did you say you didn't anticipate this?
No, we did not plan for mop-up.
Why didn't you plan for mop-up?
No, because we thought that by the May 29th, we would have finished the registration, but we were receiving a lot of applications for inclusion from the Ghanaians who have returned to the country. So we decided that, okay, some Ghanaians who have turned 18, so let's consider them too. So that's what happened.
Was this plan discussed at the IPAC?
Yes, they know. Yes, we did it with them.
And they knew that you didn't add the mop-up to the plan.
So we give them the timetable, so they have the timetable. They can show it to you. The program didn't include mop-up.
Okay. So it is the mop-up that has caused the delay in releasing the register.
Exactly so. Because the registration that was concluded on the 29th of May, and the mop-up was concluded on the 3rd of August, just this month.
So when is the register, going to be ready? You mentioned that you.
So this weekend it should be ready. This weekend.
So by Sunday it will be ready.
I pray so.
You pray so cannot really be it.
No, that is our plan. It should be.
When is the voter exhibition?
Exhibition is on Tuesday.
Per the regulations we have, when should political parties have access to the register itself before the exhibition starts?
The law did not indicate. It is the final register that gives the deadline, but the mop-up. It only said that when we finish with the compilation, that is between the registration, within 3 months, we should compile the provisional register, and when we compile, we should give copy to the political party.
Okay. But there's been concerns about, how robust our electoral system is in preparation for the 2024 election. And because of the challenges that we've had in the past, where the EC was telling us some wrong figures of a sort. So how robust is the system now? How can we even trust the robustness of the system?
We didn't turn out wrong results. What happened was that we have the data correct, but when we were trying to upload onto the system and we through infographics, that's where the copy and paste made a mistake on that. But it's not the data itself. There was no problem with the data.
So you can rest assured the parties that our system is robust for the election ahead.
So I believe they themselves are aware, because we did all the education process. We involved the political parties. So they were part of the decision as far as the education was concerned.
What about international interference in our system? Are we prepared? Interference from outside in our electoral system? Is our system robust to ward off
robust antivirus and other issues? So for now, we have never had any challenge because our system is well protected. So I don't think we have an issue with that. But that is, it with the exception of the register. And even that the register is not open to online. It's within our own system. So I don't know how anybody can access them, but we have them. Necessary measures in place. But for the election itself, we don't use any internet, so that's why it's not a problem.
Okay. The NDC said same that because it's not really based on internet, we won't have a problem. But they had issues with the integrity of the people who will be manning the polling centers. That's where the issue is.
I think that if they have genuine concern about issues, they have to write officially to protest and to investigate. Because for the temporary staff, we give them copy for them to protest. But if they have any challenge with any permanent staff, that is will not be the interest of the country. They can petition and the commission will look at it.
Okay, you've heard Dr. Srebo. He's provided answers to your questions. This is happening because they didn't anticipate the mop-up, and you are aware.
No,
that you political parties were aware that the mop-up was not part of the plan.
You see, my good friend, Dr. Srebo, is my friend. We share things in common at IPAC. You see, these are the things they do, and we have problems with them.
What things?
When they wrote the letter to us on the 18th of July, didn't they know that we were going to have mop-up?
No, the original plan that you had.
They said
it was discussed at IPAC.
I am saying that the original plan of their calendar, we discussed it. We came together and we all knew of the mop-up. We all knew of the mop-up.
Was it part of the plan?
Yes, it was part of it.
It was on.
It was on. And I'm saying that at the time they wrote to us that we should bring the 2 terabytes, they knew that they were going to have a mop-up. And they were giving us the first register, the limited, the first one they did, the one that ended 29th May. They were very clear in their mind that they were giving us that register before the mop. The mop was just 3 days. And it was online. So if you are doing an online registration, do you need to, another days, my brother is here, tell him, the IT people, I've been a lecturer in IT for a very long time. When I'm doing an online processes, how many minutes do you need to migrate a data that I'm doing online to the main one? Do I need 1 week to do that? People are paid heavily, and they need 1 week to do this kind of migration. And then even when we went for the adjudication, yes, I'm a member of the adjudication committee. But the last one I couldn't attend because I was somewhere. My brother represented me there, my other colleague. He asked them the question. You asked us to come for adjudication. What kind of adjudication are we coming to do? When we did online registration. Because when you are doing online registration, it can easily arrest somebody who is coming to do multiple registration. Because as soon as you put your finger on the biometric system, it will tell you that you already registered. Is that not true?
Yeah.
How come you had people who have managed to bypass that system and you are calling it for adjudication? It took them time to explain this thing. So later on, we heard that they did some small offline. And I said, they couldn't have done offline because at the time I was in Central Region, Asebu, Kwamankesi, I called them and told them, your people are not working because there was a network challenge. For 2 hours, they were sitting there doing nothing. So which time were they doing the offline? Okay. So clearly, you see, my brothers at the Electoral Commission, they must sit up. Okay. Because this thing that they are doing, you heard him about the register.
He says you get it by weekend. It will be ready.
Tuesday is an exhibition, right?
Yes.
When I said they refused to give, my boss put it out that they refused to give her the register. Also now they are not ready with registers. People thought we were joking. Now you've heard it from the horse's own mouth. What is the duty of that IT department? I think by now heads should have started rolling from that place. Because who is putting the data together?
All right.
That's the bigger question there.
That you should be asking. Well, let's see how it goes. But Doc, I'll give you the last bite. You've listened. Is there anything we need to do ahead before the election come December 7th?
I mean, clearly the electoral process is in bits and pieces, you know, discussing registration and backroom issues with technology, and, you know, we are talking about the manual system and how that's going to go. I think generally we should just sit down and have a proper electoral, you know, a structured policy on how we control our elections from the project management point of view and also from the technology point of view. Because this issue about mop-up afterthought, I didn't find it convincing.
Seriously.
Okay. That's Desmond Israel, who is a technology lawyer and data privacy security practitioner. Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC.
2 seconds. You see, we are telling them, the EC, they don't want us to have problems with them. They should give us a register.
He says you get it.
I'm saying that they should give us a register. They shouldn't give us the register 24 hours to the exhibition. Otherwise, they risk a massive demonstration they've never seen before in this country.
Really?
At the EC, seriously.
So they've told you get it by weekend. Are you still going ahead with that demonstration?
No. We are going there. We are going to request for it because they told us we should come today.
Okay.
And we are going back there to see. We need the register. We didn't put a dagger on their throat to tell us that come for the register on this day.
Okay.
We can't continue to be shifting goalposts like this.
Okay. All right.
As we speak now, okay, we are in a limbo. There's no register. They are telling us that, okay, you hold on. When this is ready. And my good brother is saying that these weekends. Okay. What is the meaning of that? And I was happy the way you push him and said, give us timelines. You are saying weekends. Which weekends? Don't be surprised Sunday, they will tell you Monday. You come on Monday.
All right.
These people, they don't have register.
Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please do stay with us here on The Pulse.